when you were selected, you were selected to represent the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference as a team. And I always want you to remember that team concept, that no one person is an island unto himself or herself. You're all a part of a team. Different churches that you're coming from. Good Shepherd, Wesley, Rhodes, Heritage, the other two not represented. And you're all a part of a team. And that team is a very, very special bond and a special body. I like the idea of how you've been bonding so far. And I know that I'm well represented here because both Emily and Theus, our children, are here as well. And they look forward to being a part of this group, look forward to the experience of being able to share together. What I want to say to you is that as you represent this team, remember that there are persons who have been appointed to serve as leaders of the team. Each of you is a leader in your own right. However, on this team, Reverend Jolly and Sister Natasha have been the persons who have offered themselves and have been willing from day one to assist with the directions of everything that has taken place within this group. I am sure you would concur yourselves that based upon what you have received from them, the guidance, the instructions, the knowledge that they have fed you, you are in a better position to appreciate traveling on this experience. So I want you to remember that the team concept is extremely important. No one can go off on a tangent by himself or herself. You're all a part of a team. And what I say here to you today, I say here not just to the persons from the Nassau circuit, but this note carries and reverberates right across the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference. You represent us as a team. If for any reason there is any falling up, falling down, or anything that is contrary to what is expected, it will not only reflect you, but also will be a reflection of me, the president of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference. When I served as leader for the Leeward Islands at the time, I was not just representing the group, but I was also representing the entire Leeward Islands. Reports came back after we returned home of some of the things that were done, and some unfortunate things were done on that trip. We had, I suspect, a number of persons who were fairly young. We had 14, 15-year-olds who were fairly young and perhaps weren't mature enough to understand the experience of being on a trip like that. And so they were doing things that were completely contrary. Every day I had to be trying to out fires because young people were doing things that they should not have been doing. And then reports came back that the next time we send a group to the Encuentro, it has to be a more mature group, an older group like the Jamaicans were. The Jamaicans were so much older, so much more mature. I mean, they were leading in every single way on that Encuentro. I'm saying to you here that I don't expect to hear some of those same things in terms of persons doing things that are out of character. I don't expect to hear that, because not only will you be letting yourself down, but you'll be letting Reverend Jolly and Natasha and the entire group down by doing things that you know that you ought not be doing. Remember, you are a part of a team. A team. You're not isolated entities. You're part of a team, and I'm expecting you to conduct yourself as members of this team. As members of this team, you are ambassadors. Ambassadors for your country, for the Bahamas. Ambassadors. Let people speak well about where you are coming from. Let people see you conducting and deporting yourselves in a manner that's befitting of persons who are coming from the church. No doubt, you're going to meet various personalities. You're going to meet young people from different walks of life with all kinds of behavioral patterns. You're going to meet persons with all kinds of attitudes. Do not allow yourself to denigrate or fall into the trap of falling into the attitudes that are not wholesome and uplifting, things that are out of character. Allow yourself to ensure that you follow a particular route. I'm not saying you cannot enjoy yourselves, because I'm sure there are going to be many times for you to laugh, play games, enjoy yourselves. Remember that you are part of the team. On your visit to Belize, you're not going to be perhaps together with this group all the time. You're going to be shared with other young people. In fact, if my memory serves me well, even from your accommodation, you will find yourself perhaps rooming with maybe 3 or 2 other persons from different district conferences. Get to know those individuals. They're your roommates while you're there. Should anything happen to you, they need to know. They need to know what's going on, because you're all a part of the entire Youth Encuentro yourselves. Make sure that whatever you do, you take time to get to know them, where they came from, get to know what's their future goals, their ambitions, so that you know them well enough that when you leave this day and age with all the social media, you have all of their contacts. In fact, I believe before you leave, they should have all of your contacts that they're going to give you, so that you can stay in touch with the individuals who would have been a part of the Youth Encuentro. Be a team player. Be ambassadors. Remember that we are counting on you, not just in this Encuentro, but well after this Encuentro is done. We want to be able to say that our young people made us proud from the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference of the Methodist Church. The next Youth Encuentro is scheduled for Bahamas, Turks and Caicos in 4 years' time. And so we need to ensure that in 4 years' time, some of you, I suppose, are young enough maybe to assist with that Encuentro. Some of you might not be around again because you might be off, all of you might be off or doing something in the world that you have no time for the Encuentro, but at least lay a foundation that others who are coming behind you, you can do what I'm doing today. You can stand before them and say, when we went off to Belize, this is what took place. This is what we did. These are some of the things that we engaged in and we shared with each other. Look out for each other. Look out always for each other. Care for each other. If one person is lacking in perhaps a few dollars, it doesn't hurt to recognize that all of you here are a part of this team. So don't see somebody struggling, going through a situation, and you just leave them on their own. Care for each other. There are going to be times when some of you have perhaps difficulties with carrying out responsibilities. Persons who have been set to be leaders of various groups. Some of you might not like the persons who may be leaders of your group. Well, I want you to be able to help each other. In addition to Reverend Jolly, Sister Natasha, Sister Cox, and Danica, I want as well for you to recognize that you can also help pull each other up. If you see somebody has an attitude problem getting along, go over and pat them on the back or pat them on the shoulder and say, come on, let's get it together. You know, and just a little pat on the back or something like that. But just be there for each other. Don't leave each other defenseless at all. You're all bright, brilliant students, talented in every way. So many of you, all of you, have gifts in so many different areas. We have right among us right now gifts in so many things: dance and drama and music and choral voice speaking, and you name it, right across the board. You are talented beyond measure. It's how you channel those talents and use those talents to be uplifting for the glory of God. Let this Youth Encuentro be an experience, if for nothing else, to bring you to a closer walk with God. Let it be an experience that will bring you into a closer walk with God. Every day on this experience, I know some of you might be doing it now, journal. Take a journal of some of the important things that happen each day. You'll be amazed to know when you go back 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you'll be able to look at that journal and say, you know what? It's amazing the crazy things we did while we were on the Youth Encuentro. Or the wonderful things I wrote. I never knew those things would be influencing my life today. So take a journal of the things that you need to be aware of before you take this journey itself. we're proud of you. We're proud that you've offered to be a part of this experience. The same way you've been getting on here before you leave, as I see you getting on so well with each other, I want you to continue to do that, not only in Belize, but even after Belize itself. Respect each other. Care for each other. Show compassion towards each other. We are counting on you, because the future, as it relates to young people in the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference, has a lot to do with what you do here on this trip. Make this Youth Encuentro a special time of your lives. Out of these Encuentros, persons have just gotten to know themselves. We have persons like Reverend Jolly, who's offered for ministry, coming out of the experience of Youth Encuentro. Others have gone off and gone to universities out of the Youth Encuentro. Others have gone off and done so many other things as well, just coming out of these Youth Encuentro experiences. So there is latitude for wonderful things happening in this Youth Encuentro. Make it the best experience that you can ever wish for. Don't let your excitement wane in any stretch of the imagination. Let the excitement continue to grow. And I can tell you, as you look forward to traveling and this experience together, if you have challenges that maybe somebody needs to know about, share with one of those persons here who you might be very close with, so they can help you along the way in the process as well of something that you might need some help with. But we're proud of you. Your parents are proud of you. Your churches are proud of you. This conference is proud of you. Now go forth and make us proud of yourselves by doing those things that will enable us to say, this group of persons who left the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands Conference for the 2019 Youth Encuentro, we are indeed proud of all of them. Any questions or any comments anyone has at this particular time? What I just want to say to you, I am happy that you are the persons who have been selected, you are the persons who have been chosen, you are talented, you're going to meet young people from all walks of life. Don't be afraid, those of you who speak Spanish, to practice your Spanish. You might not be able to say too much, but you'll be amazed to know that those 2 or 3 words will help you in situations where persons do not speak English, but they're able to converse with you in Spanish, or perhaps in other languages as well. Across our conference area, there are persons who speak Creole from Haiti. Don't be afraid every now and then a couple words that you learned to share those words, because it helps to bridge and make the friendships even stronger. Those persons who speak Dutch, don't be afraid. There are persons coming from the Dutch, the Caribbean as well, who will speak Dutch with you. Papiamento from Aruba and Curacao, those persons who are coming out of those experiences. French, those of you who can speak French. Don't be afraid to do those things. Don't be afraid to show the gifts and talents that you have. Some of you are good in terms of music. Don't be afraid to just sit on the sidelines and do nothing. When you come together in your groups, I know the experience sometimes of these Encuentros, they wake you up very early in the mornings, especially for the sporting activities as well. So those of you who like to sleep, you might miss some sleep during this week, but just for this week. After this week, you'll enjoy yourself. So you might find yourself being awakened from the 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. They're getting you ready for morning exercise. It helps. Don't frustrate those persons who are leading you. I know how you feel. Why are they waking me up so early in the morning? Go to bed on time. For God's sake, when it's time to go to bed so you can get up on time. Go to bed on time. If you don't go to bed on time, it's going to be very difficult to get up on time. When they give you an opportunity for rest and relaxation, use that time for rest and relaxation. If you do foolish things, then you're going to find yourself suffering the consequences for not adhering to the time frames that are set. Foods. You're going to have different food choices. Don't tell yourself, I don't eat this and I don't eat that. For God's sake, listen, let this week be one week when you try to get accustomed to. I mean, some of us are not very adventurous. I'm not one of those persons who are very adventurous. But if you have to eat something every single day just to keep you going, just listen, don't complain about the food. Don't complain about anything. In fact, let no complaints come forth from you about what is going on in Belize. They have been working extremely hard. In some instances, they have not been getting the support and the help. I just sent Sister Reverend Jolly and Sister Natasha an email in regards to what they were asking for. I think you submitted already your travel documents, but some persons still have not submitted their travel itineraries as yet, so they don't know when they're coming in, and a number of other things. Don't, for God's sake, go there and make the problems even bigger and worse for the people there. They are under lots of stress. I mean, they're trying to work with the hotel, and fortunately, you were staying in a hotel, because I remember in Barbados, we slept on cots in school buildings. And I suspect that was what kind of generated a lot of the people pasting with toothpaste and all of that kind of thing that they were on a campus. So that kind of caused a lot of problems with many of our young people from the Leeward Islands at that particular time. But you're in a hotel. Treat the people hotel as though you have been there before. Treat the people hotel as though you've been there before. Don't allow yourself to get involved in anything that's out of character. Now, we had a serious problem in Antigua. That was a hotel experience, and that was a serious problem, because people were sleeping in rooms that they shouldn't be sleeping in. Boys and girls rooms, this one in the next room. For God's sake, we don't want to hear that coming from you. So make sure that you are where you ought to be, because we don't want to hear any complaints coming from this group, from the Bahamas in particular, but Bahamas and Turks and Caicos in general. Lights out mean lights out, and respect the lights out. I mean, they're going to give you sufficient time. Believe you me, every day you're going to have sufficient time to do exactly what you want to do. You're going to have time to send emails. You're going to have time to do your texting, whatever you want to do on your phone. Some places you go, phones will not be permitted. Phones will not be permitted. Don't get upset with the people because they don't permit you to have your phone there. Just respect the rules and regulations, because everything that people do, they have to always think about ensuring your safety and everything else. Don't walk off by yourself anywhere. Belize is one of those places where you just have to be mindful of where you're going, what you're doing. You have leaders here. If there should be any question that you have about anything, get in contact with Reverend Johnny. Get in contact with Sister Natasha or any of the other leaders. Speak with one of your peers. Make sure that you're all on the same page. If you haven't seen one member of this group, even though they may be in other groups, perhaps they might not be feeling well, something's going on, check up on each other. Make sure you stay in touch to check on each other, that everything is going well every day. Again, you are talented, you're very mature. I believe that you can do exceptionally well on this trip. Make us proud and make yourselves proud. Questions or comments from anybody? Yes, Reverend Johnny.
Just a reminder, I looked at the covenant form again last night, and it reminded me that I know that a lot of us are adults and we're of legal drinking age, and this is a hotel setting, so anything will be available to you, but this is a Methodist function, and so you are expected not to be drinking any alcohol at any time, whether it's in the hotel or outside the function or anywhere. Not on this trip, please. This is a dry function. I remember that from the covenant form. Just to remind us of that.
Thank you, Reverend Jolly. I don't want to hear when you come back that we had some young people who were teetotalers when you come back. So let's make sure that you stay as good as you possibly can. All gamblers, that's right, for that reason as well. This casino would be there as well. Yeah. So. Everybody's packed so far? Everybody's packed so far except my children?